the criteria that both sides have fallen down on is the lack of a 10,000 seater venue. Now, there's been a lot of outrage on Twitter, and I think rightly so, and I'll get onto it in a little bit, but it is kind of important to understand that this criteria hasn't changed. It is something that both sides knew. But you've got to also understand that in November, if you're not top of the league, the amount of bandwidth that is required within an organisation to put together a bid suitable to house Premiership Rugby, it's significant. Doncaster Knights aren't operating a staff of tens and hundreds of people to do this. You know, planning permission is not a easy, quick process or inexpensive process to go through. So I think my umbrage and the disgust that I've seen on Twitter, I kind of feel myself, is that these minimum standard criteria, in my own opinion, are just self-serving for those at the top of the game. The RFU and to a lesser extent PRL should look to support clubs with ambition within these applications. And should they get to a point where they're possibly going to achieve promotion, Donny currently top of the league, Ealing, potentially could go ahead on points difference, got games in hand. And of course, the other side, we haven't talked about Cornish Pirates, who did not submit a bid. That, it's anyone's title at the moment in time. There should be conversations at this point that say, okay, we've seen your bids. There are plans, and I'm not saying secrets here. There's plans to expand both grounds incrementally, sensibly, in under a viable financial and sort of incremental growth stage. That should be something that's supported through promotion, not used as a stick to beat them and keep them out of the league. And that's where I think a lot of people maybe who didn't know about the rulings and the 10,000 seats have kind of maybe a little bit misinformed. But equally, it's just a sham. And I think that the criteria is faulty at its flaw. And whilst the clubs knew what was required of them before they put it in, there's a fundamental problem with the criteria. We've seen countless examples. Doncaster Knights have hosted 6 Nations games for the women's and sold out 5, delivered these games fantastically well. You've got 5 out of the 13 Premiership sides failing to get 10,000 gates, but yet that's a criteria to get in. The inequality and the inconsistency throughout these criteria is just mind-boggling. And I'm glad that there has been a reaction on Twitter. I'm glad that people are pissed off about it, because it's something that people need to get pissed off about. You've got 13 clubs at the top of a sport that is for a full country, just taking it away from it, and it's not theirs to take. And it is just, I'm going to be quiet for a moment now and let other people speak, but it's just, I'm glad everyone's upset on Twitter, because it's upsetting.